Bazalwane, I'm going to take it from where it comes from, the Old Testament, so that we can understand what altars are. Everything that we see in the Old Testament, it was a prophecy towards what is coming in the New Testament. Exodus 30, verse number 1.
Then make another altar of acacia wood for burning incense.
Can you underline the word burning incense? Come to verse 6, Murut.
Place the incense altar just outside the inner curtain that shields the Ark of the Covenant, in front of the Ark's cover, the place of atonement that covers the tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant. I will meet you there.
Say, I will meet you there, in the altar. Hallelujah. And this altar is an altar to burn incense. It replaced the incense altar. Maybe you can call it the incense altar. It was an altar that was what? Burning incense. Hallelujah. Verse 7.
Every morning when...
Underline the word every morning. It was not one morning. Underline it. Every what?
Morning.
Every what?
Morning.
I'm teaching. Every morning when Aaron what?
Maintains the lamps, he must burn fragrant incense on the altar.
How frequent? Every morning. The man was going to burn incense where? On the altar.
And each evening when he lights the lamps, he must again burn incense in the Lord's presence.
So, where must he burn this incense? On the altar, every morning and every what? Evening. So he goes to that Ark of the Covenant to burn incense every what? Morning and every evening in the presence of the Lord. And remember, in this ark, it was a place where God will meet with them. Hallelujah. So every time, even when you read Exodus, from chapter 20 down to 22, you hear a lot of different altars that were built. And every time these altars were built is where God meets with the people. Hallelujah. So an altar was representing the presence of the meeting spot. Tell your neighbor, the meeting spot, yeah, altar. An altar was a consecrated place where God will meet the people. Yeah, verse number 8.
And each evening when he lights the lamps, he must again burn the incense in the Lord's presence. This must be done from generation to generation.
It was an instruction from a generation to verse 9.
Do not offer unholy incense on this altar.
You must not burn incense that are unholy. Huh? You must not offer what?
Unholy incense on this altar.
On this altar. Yeah, Revelations 5, verse 6 to verse 8.
Then I saw a lamb that looked as if he had been slaughtered.
I saw a lamb that looked as if it had been slaughtered.
But it was now standing between the throne and the 4 living beings, and among the 24 elders. He had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which represent the 7-fold Spirit of God that is sent out into every part of the earth. He stepped forward and took the scroll from the right hand of the one sitting on the throne.
He steps forward to take what? The scroll from the right hand of one who's sitting on the throne. Yes.
And when he took the scroll, the 4 living beings and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they held gold bowls.
They held gold bowls. These are the bowls in the hands of what?
24 elders.
The 24 elders. They had gold bowls. Yes.
And they had gold bowls.
This man is looking at this thing, he's in a vision. Hallelujah. These guys, they have gold bowls.
Filled with incense.
Filled with what?
Incense.
Filled with what?
Incense.
Every morning, every evening, they must what? They must burn incense where? Now, we see a man in a vision. He sees the elders having bowels. And these bowels, they are filled with incense. Hallelujah. And these incense are what?
Are the prayers of God's people.
Every morning, Aaron must burn what? On the altar. Every evening, he must burn incense. Where? Here is a man on a vision explaining why the incense. Because in the Old Testament, you can do it physically, but in the spiritual covenant, I'll explain. Hallelujah. Look at 1 Kings 18. There are different types of altars, where we see even demonic or satanic altars being built. That is why, Bazalwani, we get defeated easy in life, because we don't have altars. Tell your neighbor. You are fighting things or battles from altars, but you don't have an altar. Why do Christians get defeated? It's because there's no altar. We end up saying prayers are not answered. Because in another generation here, the New Testament, we were ignorant. We are praying, God is not answering us. No. There is a system that these people of the old covenant, they used. And it required consistency. Hallelujah. An altar speaks about a consistent, dedicated time of prayer. Where you do what? You burn your incense. And they go to God like a fragrance. And God looks at them and says, smells your prayers. Say, which are neighbor, or do you have an altar? Mujish. Did you burn yesterday? Mujish was a what to Gamul? The altar, that's why demons are playing in your life. Because your altar is not burning. Burning today, I had 3 weeks. Then after hearing a powerful teaching about prayers, I'm going to burn. Now I'm going to burn it. You burn it for 3 days. After that 3 days, fire. The day you need emergency prayer. You need emergency prayer. You just go and burn your incense. Like Elijah says, I'm going to do something. Build me. Do something here. And when it's done and set and done, he says, Lord, prove that you are God and I'm your son. One of the situations you must prove who you are, your identity. We talked about identity. Hallelujah. Spiritual husband. You're not burning. Which neighbor, what is the state of your altar now? Or your altar, is it there? Is the altar there? I'm talking about a consistent time of prayer. Is it there? Oh my God. I can like a group prayer. A community. I need a community. You must burn your incense. And when you go to the community, candle, lighting up a candle. Because people who are burning their altar separately, they are coming and joining in prayer. That is why my demonia honely community marolity when you protect the altar ja batho ba bangwe le timoni lo kreile le tele o gama ro tshwara ke satele di bushuko re ya mo ona mo ke a sepela modimo re thushe bazalwa.